All right, by request from yesterday, top 5 college football announcers of all time, and I swear to you, number 4 is not pandering. I really do believe this. I'll just warn you, chat room, I really do believe this. Before I met him, before we had him on the show 1,000 times. So I'm just giving you a little preview. Number 5, this is one of my personal favorites who's going now, and might be towards the end of his career. He's done it a long time, but Brad Nessler, not only is he great, he's funny. If you listen to Brad Nessler during a game, he really gets in some good quips. I remember it was Taysom Hill. I think it was Taysom Hill when BYU beat Oklahoma. They showed him just a video of him, and Taysom Hill was saying, "Oh my God," and Brad Nessler's quote was, Taysom Hill says, "Oh my gosh," or whatever they're allowed to say in Provo. And I just died laughing. Just absolute. He's so sharp. He's so good. Was a great addition taking over for Verne Lundquist on the SEC game. Curious to see what's going to happen as CBS loses the SEC. I guess that's next year, right, that they do that, Smokey? But love Brad Nessler. Love him on every sport that he does, but particularly college football.
Yeah, no, he's become, and he's bounced around to where he could be. Did he take over for
Verne Lundquist?
Verne Lundquist?
Yeah.
Who, of course, is one of the greatest broadcasters of all time. And then, of course, Musburger used to be very much heavily involved.
Musburger would have been number 6 in this.
Okay.
He did not make the list, which I really racked my brain on it. Number 4, our good friend Tim Brando.
No, you're saying that because it's a Baylor-centric and we had him on the show.
No, I'm saying it because this is the guy who was the first host of College Game Day. This is a guy who I love the games he does. I love he and Spencer Tillman as a team. I think that's one of the best groups that's sustained through the years in college football that's been consistent. I love listening to them do a game. I always have. And he is one of the greats. He's been doing it a long time, 40-plus years now, of being one of the voices of college football and one of the best. And you're not going to convince me otherwise.
A lot of people can disagree, and obviously someone that's on the chat room, and we take the predictions, and that's what it's for. I mean, if I had my top 10, you could blast it out of the water. But as far as his passion for loving college football and his knowledge and history of it, I think it's one of the best ever. Yep, no question. He is one of the best ever.
Look, Monty Pritchett, I left him commented on the thing about Brent Musburger. Look, let me do the rest of my top 5. Nessler just beat him out because I think Nessler's just a little bit better at college football than Brent Musburger. Brent Musburger used to do a thing that I didn't like, and the only reason I took him off this list is he sometimes would get laser focused on one guy on each team and forget to talk about the other guys.
Yeah, or maybe a girlfriend of the quarterback.
Yeah. That I don't mind so much, but yes, it's not. It wasn't that, but I'll use the example when it was Texas. He really, really liked Major Applewhite, and Major Applewhite, no disrespect to Major Applewhite, was far from the best player on that team. The absolute definition of it. I mean, he was in the Ken Dorsey category where you're good, but you're also surrounded by dudes.
Yeah,
so,
some can get focused on one player or a story of just for example, we know the tragic story about Sam Mellinger. Mm-hmm. And we know that Jordan Shipley and Colt McCoy were roommates. But it's like every broadcast had to bring that up.
Yeah, they just get
there are other athletes on that team who have stories as well, and that's the part that sometimes they get stuck on that. And yes, it might be their first broadcast that season, but again.
Yeah, I do love that Musburger, and that's what he's doing now, throws out the Vegas lines and, incorporates that, and always very interesting to me. I love Musburger on everything he does, and I really love him on basketball, particularly. But, again, he was number 6. Number 3, the late, great Ron Franklin. Now, Ron, towards the end of his career, got some bad press for, inner office squabble, in which he was wrong. But there is no denying that Ron Franklin was one of the voices of college football. He was the voice to me of most of the games when I was growing up in Florida, and my dad and I would watch Texas and Texas A&M. It was mostly Ron Franklin every year doing that game. Yeah. So most of my great memories of watching football or A&M games with my dad that were on ESPN were Ron Franklin, even though he used to be the voice of Texas before Craig Way was. And Ron was so good and really got – There are some guys you can put in college football, and it takes them a while to like get it. Ron Franklin just got college football. He loved college football, and his games to me always popped.
Passed away recently, and was I always enjoyed him. I'll tell you where I first heard Ron Franklin. On my way back and forth from where my parents lived, San Antonio, after that's where I graduated, on my way back and forth to junior college in Tyler, and then Stephen F. Austin, that's when Love You Blue was like in full throttle, 77s when Earl won the Heisman, so I would have been at both. And listening to Houston Oilers broadcast for that 4.5-hour trip, Ron Franklin and Ron Stone was glorious. And then, of course, he did Texas and college football.
Our friend Steve Fallon took over after that for a little while. Number 2, a guy we've mentioned already, Verne Lundquist, was great on the SEC, great on college football. I saw him at an event one time, and he was far away. I really wanted to go talk to him, but I kind of I got a little too nervous to go talk to him. I did, because I like Verne Lundquist that much. Also, one of the stars of Billy Madison, great in golf.
On the tower at 16 at Augusta.
Yeah.
With many of the great calls, college football, Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say an event, it was a Cowboys game. They were giving him some sort of honor at a Cowboys game. So, yes, Verne Lundquist was there, and I didn't get to talk to him, but I saw him, and I was a little bit clammed up. I was so excited to see him. And number 1, this is undisputed. You cannot get better than this guy on college football, Keith Jackson. Whoa, Nelly. My favorite Keith Jackson call ever was this, and I still don't know what it means, but it was awesome. Danny Werfel, he's the kind of guy who walks in your house and then leaves with your favorite hat. That's what he said.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No. And, look, I know Danny Werfel is a dirty, disgusting Florida Gator, but he's a really nice guy. They have the award named after him, because he does a lot of service, and he was a really nice guy. I don't know what leaves with your favorite hat means, but I always thought that was a great Keith Jackson saying.
No.
3 whoopies and a hot damn was a great one, but, whoa, Nelly, and the way that he would paint the picture, whether he was doing the Pac-12, whether he was doing the Big Ten, whatever game he was doing, he made you feel like you were in the Horseshoe or in Autzen Stadium or at Kyle Field or at the Swamp. You were just there.
Even if it's television, of course, one of the greatest compliments, if it's radio, is you felt like you were right there watching inside the stadium the game with a broadcaster. In the case, Keith Jackson passed away in 2018. I had a chance to visit with him and an interview, and that was among my favorites ever. Just because he's such a nice guy. Oh, Nelly. And then Bama, fumble. Bama's got it, and all the other things. Called the Texas USC game in 2005 one of the greatest, perhaps, games of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. Loved all these guys. And there's some current guys that are on this list that could be I like a lot too. But these are to me the all-time greats.
Yeah, and that's play-by-play. And there's some that would want to bring in the color analyst and what's more. Here's an article. Bleacher Report did their top 25 college football broadcasters, but here are the ones that did play-by-play. 1, Jackson. 2, Musburger. 3, Verne Lundquist. The next play-by-play would have been Brad Nessler. And then after that, now Chris Fowler, one of the current broadcasters as well, Ron Franklin. So you had a pick and choose. Some of them that they had on the list were also color analysts for college football as well. Emery Winter,